Lemon Amiga presents a Playguide video review. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Hey there, once again, welcome to another Lemon Amiga Playguide and review. This time we'll be checking out Switchblade 2, developed and published by Gremlin Graphics in 1991. On that title screen you can see Switchblade 2 and also our high scores as well, and this is the WHD load version I'm attempting to play at the moment, and you can hear some great title music on the title screen as well. Sadly, we don't get any music in the game itself, so just have to bear that in mind as we press that fire button and let's check this game out. In this game we play as a guy called Hiro, H-I-R-O, and that was the same guy that we found in Switchblade 1. And I haven't reviewed the Amiga version of Switchblade 1, but I have reviewed the C64 version, so if you want to check out the Lemon Tube 64 website on YouTube, then you'll find the Switchblade 1 review, and I absolutely adore Switchblade 1 on the Commodore 64. And so that's on YouTube, but this Switchblade 2 is the game that I remember on the Amiga, and it's one of the few first games I had, or at least I saw before I even had an Amiga, along with Apprentice and Supercars 2, and a few other favourites as well that I had back in the day that were only just getting around to reviewing this series. The game is split into a number of different worlds or huge levels, and I think it contains maybe 6 to 7 of them, and you can see that we can swipe the enemies with our sword or we can shoot them with our gun. So just like Switchblade 1, from the surface we'll go down into the underworld, where just like Ranarama it will open just a little bit as we explore, and the screen will linger on so we can see things in adjacent rooms, and it's one huge map, so once we've explored it the map should be open, and that means that we can explore all those hidden areas and pick up all those bonus items. This follows heavily on from Switchblade 1, so if you've ever played Switchblade 1 you'll be very familiar with this first level, but unlike Switchblade 1, yes, we can shoot those things, and hopefully once they're dead that's it. And jumping up, we can pull back on the controller and push up to make our high jump. And that's borrowed or stolen directly from Robocop on the C64, where we could pull back and push up to perform a jump. And the high jump comes in handy in this game, and I'll definitely be performing that very regularly, as you will see. Also, just like Switchblade 1, we'll find the same knives that fall out of the floor, we'll just have to avoid them, and some robots which look pretty similar, although they're not exactly the same, and all of this was of course courtesy of Simon Phipps, and you won't hear Simon Phipps again in this review, basically because he didn't code it, he didn't design it, and it was nothing to do with this project. what the people at Gremlin did was realise that they had a great game on their hands with Switchblade, and they took it upon themselves to create Switchblade 2 using a different design team. So that's why it has its inspiration in Switchblade, and you might notice a few cracks appear in the walls that we can destruct. So we don't have to go around destructing them at random. We should be able to see, just like Switchblade 1, the walls that we can remove for some extra goodies. And due to our extra high jump, that means we can also check out things which aren't on our level, and that means we can find power-ups, which is this P that you can see I've just collected, that old power-up or knife, and an extra life as well. So our knife you can see, and what looks like a shield, which is actually our bionic arm which fires the gun. And so we have our bionic arm and the knife, which should hopefully get stronger. The gun won't, but we can upgrade it by finding a shop a little bit later on. And yes, again, another power up for our knife, which means swiping the enemies at close quarters is a little safer if we have a good knife at our disposal. So this level is sprawling. Let's continue to explore it. And look at that, another ammo crate. You can see that restores our ammo in the bottom right corner all the way to the full, all the way to the maximum, and that doesn't appear to go down quicker if we buy extra ammo for that thing, which is good. But once we run out of ammo, unfortunately we cannot fire that gun again until we collect some more. And the enemies don't have any. Usually they have bonus items, which is in the form of orbs, and you can collect those for a bit more money. You can see we have 16 credits now thanks to collecting that extra orb. That will come in handy in the shop a bit later on. Just like the Wolf Child game that we saw, it is possible to duck under their firepower, and it is possible to explore our way around the levels and find all those hidden collectibles, of which there are pizzas, pizza, and also collectible hot dogs, and also hamburgers, and junk food that we can collect. I'm not sure if this is on an alien planet, but somehow the fast food chains have already arrived before us. So, ignoring that, we can see security cameras that don't do anything, and rockets on the floor which don't do anything. All that we've done is lost our first life in this game. You can see in the top center we have 4 lives remaining. Speeding up that footage, you can see we're having to backtrack on the level, and sometimes it's worth it for those extra lives, but you can see in the bottom left corner our health has taken a massive hammering because of that detour, and you can usually find ammo crates a lot more readily than you can find health. So that's good and bad news, and hopefully just like Switchblade 1 we can use those ledges to our advantage, and look at that, almost a full health top up thanks to that one bit of junk food. So you can see the spiders from the 3rd level, or whatever they may be, they look more like scorpions on the 3rd level of Switchblade 1. But they look like they should live in the sea, according to this particular game. I'm not quite sure what the animal is, but it is present on this very first level, and that is supposed to remind us again of Switchblade 1. And all of this is just one load which loads into our memory. And look at that, we found a platform. What hides on top of this platform? Well, instant death usually. Luckily we can fall off from this thing and not incur any damage, which is the good news. And as long as we're careful and use up all these bullets, hopefully we can get through this ascent in one piece. Luckily it's a lot easier than it was in Wolf Child, which is a blessing, and look at that, it gives us the health at the top just for our trouble. So let's grab that and the ammo as well, seeing as we have virtually 0 ammo left. and it looks like I'm walking and ignoring the ammo, but of course you get full ammo with every pickup, and if you already have a bit of ammo, then that's ammo wasted. So that's why we wasted all of that before we got the full top up all over again. So those tricks have to be learned, because if you pick up all the ammo and waste it, then you might run out. You might have to go and backtrack the level, or you might have to carry on with no ammo. So you really have to keep your eyes open and hope that you're going in the right direction. But we've also cleared that area now, we don't have to backtrack, so despite looking amazingly complex, this level is actually pretty straightforward, and as long as we keep going in this general direction, we'll eventually fall over the exit, and we're about halfway through this level at the moment, and so let's keep exploring, make our way down towards that shop, and you can see we've got $32 at the moment. $32 isn't amazing, but let's hold down the fire button, let's enter that shop, and the shop owner doesn't say anything, unfortunately. We can buy an extra life for 50 credits, full energy for 20 credits, a shield for 30, power up for 20, and also a dragon as well, you can see, for 40. Full ammo will cost 20. We can buy the plasma gun, which maybe we already start out with that, the beam laser for 30, or one of the more powerful spin blades for 30. Well, it's a no-brainer. Let's grab those spin blades, and that means that we've got 2 credits remaining. Fortunately, that does not mean that we can enter the shop and buy something else. We've got 2 credits, so we'll just have to continue from here, and I think there is only 1 shop per level. But if we continue to use this wisely, then hopefully now every time I press the fire button it will fire those spin blades out, which are a bit more powerful, and as long as we keep hold of this life, we should carry on with those blades. So this burger is going to be very helpful, and the ammo box is going to be very, very helpful, because we were just about to run out. So things like that, you really don't need to collect all of those pickups, because they don't really do a lot, and unless you don't die, they will disappear if you do die, usually. So unless you don't die and you are a master of this game, you're better saving up for the extra lives, and that means that you have something for your hard-earned money. In this case, the spinning blades is quite handy on this first level, and we're going to continue to use that for a little bit, and for some reason it even survived my first death. You can see we've got 4 lives at the moment, and for some reason we've got 5 now, so I think if you collect an extra life after you pick up those spin blades, then you get to keep it, but if you don't pick up any of those extra lives, then you don't get to keep it in this game. Most of these things are guarded, but control isn't such a problem, and it's not as slow or as laggy as Switchblade 1. And many of the comments on the Lemon Amiga website complained about the slow controls, but I don't have a problem with those controls. I think they're pretty responsive. They're a lot faster than Strider, the game that we saw, or we got on the Amiga, and maybe even Assassin as well. Anybody who's into the NES might remember those kind of Grise or Contra clones that appeared, and from our money this is a kind of a Contra clone, although this plays infinitely better than the Contra games that we got on the Amiga. So this is a similar kind of Metroidvania thing, but it's a simplified version, and we will go on to different landscapes and different enemies as the game goes on. But this is very much longer than your average game, and so we'll have to wade through it, knowing the general direction of which way we're supposed to go by following all those dead ends. And this is the right way to go. This is the second of our elevators, and up there we should find hopefully an ammo box. So let's continue in this direction, and yes, some things look pretty samey at this point, almost like that we've been here already. But we haven't. Let's save that health, and well, if we do unfortunately go back, then we won't be able to collect that health. So let's just collect it now anyway. There's nothing over here, nothing over there. Do we go back for the ammo box? Well, we're not on a time limit. We don't have any time counters in the game, so we can take our time. But I like to clear everything out, so let's clear everything and get rid of those scorpions or whatever they're supposed to be. It's usually worth exploring, even if you just pick up the extra ammo that you've wasted by firing into the wall to get the extra ammo box in the first place. And so the graphics in this game are very colourful, and you'll be thinking that there is more than 16 colours on screen, but that's another comment that the Lemon has commented on. The colour scheme seems very drab. Of course that changes level to level, and like most games in the genre, the platform genre, you won't get to see the best levels, just like Zool and Zool 2 and all the others. You won't get to see the best graphic levels until way later in the game, and all those graphic tricks and things like that. So yes, the first level looks very bland, and they tended to use grey colours. It's surprising that the very same Lemoners didn't criticise games like the Chaos Engine and Speedball 2 by the Bitmap Brothers, even though that contains even less variants of that grey colour scheme, and even less of the greens and the reds and the shades of blue that we get in this game. See, I've now run out of ammo, and that means that we can only use our sword or our dagger. And let's just skip out a part of the playthrough when I ran backwards to get some health, even though there's some health here. I didn't know that, so I ran back to get some health. What have we got? Nothing. All we can do is plod on and see if we find an ammo box. There's absolutely nothing here, and you can see that sword is pretty weedy. Again, it reminds me of Strider. And again, without the paw involved, this game is a lot more playable than the Amiga version of Strider that we managed to get. And it doesn't have an amazing spiralling jump, but the extra high jump on offer is actually better than Strider. And for my money, I actually enjoyed this a lot better than Strider on the Amiga. Let's run like heck, and we still have not found an ammo box, but we've just died. We're down to 5 lives now, which is still 1 more life than we had when we picked up the upgrade. And so if we pick up the ammo box, at the moment we're heading towards the surface, we find the ammo box, there it is. It should mean that we still retain our extra special weapon. And let's try and fire that towards the enemies. And yes, there is the spinning blades. So let's cling on to that life, and maybe a trick of this game is to get the spinning blades when you're down to a low level of lives, and then find lots and lots of lives, and then that means that they continue on and on. But I'm not quite sure, but we still have those spinning blades. That's a rarity in this game. Usually if you lose the extra life, or you lose the life, then it means that you lose the extra weapon. But we're rapidly heading towards the end of level boss. And so if the high jump reminded you of Robocop, and the moving around and firing things reminded us of Robocop by Ocean, then maybe the end of level boss will remind you of Robocop as well, because it's obviously ripped off from Ed 209. And so it's not the first or the last game that rips all the games off that we've seen. It's not a bad game, and of course it's inspired by many others. So let's tackle the end of level boss, and let's see how far we can get. not sure if there's a safe spot, but if you stand towards the middle of its range and jump up, you should be able to jump over those missiles, all of which I'm failing to do at the moment. It doesn't really matter because the boss is dead, which means we get the magic sword piece. If you remember from the first game, we're collecting them again, so death count piles up and gives us some extra score. And get ready while it's loading the second level from that disc. On the second level we find a different colour scheme, and just like the Chaos Engine it's now green and brown, which means we have green and brown things in the background as well, which look like fighter jets. I'm not quite sure why they are there. And you find some more of the same enemies that we found on the first level, and a smattering more of them. You can find fossils hidden away in the rocks, also bonsai trees, and also fire sprouting up from the ground. So random fires you'll have to watch out for in this particular game. And so down here, right at the start, I think you find an extra life, and that's very helpful, puts us back up to 3 extra lives. And unfortunately we've still got no ammo in the ammo box. We've got $64 remaining, and the F equals 1. I'm not quite sure what that is. It could be a smart bomb, and it could be a continue, but the F1 is probably the level, probably on now World 1, not quite sure, but whatever that means, it doesn't bear any thought because we're not going to find the exits of this level on this particular playthrough. Just like all of the best shooters, we can leap between those platforms, and if we touch fire then that will make us leap backwards, and that will mean that we can leap all the way onto a higher platform sometimes, or it can mean that we fall to our death. You can see the platform that we're trying to get through is protected by fire. We can't get there by any other means, so we'll have to do a small jump, which isn't easy on this game. And all these fires are pretty annoying at this stage because they rob away health needlessly. So can I do the small jump while collecting the pizza, dude? That will help us a little bit. And can we perform that? Well, no is the answer to that. But if we collide with an enemy or collide with a bullet, that will automatically put us onto that higher platform. So that's a bug that we can take advantage of, and that's a help in the game. And look at that big gun. We're supposed to be destroying those big guns, but they don't really have any bearing on this level. We're on level 2, and as you can see there are 2 towers, one to the left and one to the right. And as I climb these towers, some of those will lead to dead ends. So I'm not quite sure how to get to the top of these, and I've never actually managed to get to the top of these 2 towers on any of my playthroughs. But it's not that hard, I'm just making it look hard on this particular video. So I've just tried that one, climbed to the top, can't find anything. So I've just fallen to the bottom of the next one, and ignoring it, we're now moving on, and I found the edge of the screen. So I'm not quite sure how many of these towers that we can leap up, but there is a chasm between each one, and jumping through and jumping onto that chasm, it's supposed to be a landmark so you can memorise the way to go. I can't memorise head nor tail of this level, and I never could do. That's why I can't find the end of it, and that's why I'm going to get pretty bored towards the end of this review. Speeding that footage up, this game was coded by George Allen, and we probably haven't seen the Venus the Flytrap review on this channel yet, but it's supposed to be here at some point this series. Venus the Flytrap was the second game by George Allen after Chrome, which was a demo that he sent into Gremlin and got the job. So after Venus the Flytrap, he moved on to this game, and after this game he used a very similar game engine to create Zool in 1992, and I think they spanned that off to Zool 2 as well. but George Allen is definitely a platform guy in Gremlin graphics. And he's the guy that sent in Chrome, so hopefully we'll get to see that review at that point. Graphics in this game were created by Paul Gregory, and Paul Gregory you might have heard about. He's the guy that coded most of the Freescape games on the Amiga. Freescape was an open world game generator where 3D graphics could be walked around in full 3D. You might remember Driller, Darkside, Total Eclipse and Castle Master. All of those games crawled along at a ridiculous pace on the Amiga versions, and similarly on the 8-bits as well. But if you had an 030 then those games were barely playable, and some people might remember Driller, Darkside, Total Eclipse. But moving away from those 3D graphics, he then moved on to create the graphics for this game, and I'd say that they're fairly well done. They're definitely above average, the colours are great, and the character is great as well. I just wish that there were even more enemy variety on the different levels, and I wish that the different levels weren't so sprawling. That's another tower climbed up. I can't find how to get to the top of it, so we've moved on to another tower to try and get to the top of it, and not having much luck whatsoever. So we'll move on to the music, which was created by Barry Leach, who created a very few music titles on the Amiga, including Harley Quinn, Impossible that we've reviewed, The Humans, and also Lotus 2 that everybody remembers. So Barry Leach created that title music, and one of the downsides is there's no title music in the game itself. Let's pile into that shop, let's see what's available. I'm not quite sure what the Dragon does, and so we can afford 30 credits, we can afford 30 for the Napalm, and Plasma Gun, again I'm not sure what that does. We can find ammo crates all over the place and power-ups. The Dragon's still there for 40, and we can also buy ourselves an Extra Life for 50, which we can afford, so I'm actually going to buy the Extra Life, which is a stupid manoeuvre, and I'm also going to buy the Napalm as well, for 30, but what I failed to realise was we run out of ammo, so we're not going to get to see much of the Napalm on this review. Unfortunately, you can see that we do not have any ammo, and so that was a completely wasted opportunity, because if I don't collect any ammo before I've wasted this life, then that means that those pickups are pretty wasted. So we did get the Extra Life, but that's not going to last very much longer in this Playguide. So before we get completely lost, you can see I've climbed up another tower, there's nothing up there. I can't get to the next one. If you take a leap of faith, all that will do is to put you onto these platforms again, where you have to avoid some things flying around, which is all fair enough, but that's not getting us anywhere near the end of this level. These two towers, they are a mystery, and you'll have to solve that mystery if you want to get anywhere in the game. You see, I'm trying to jump from one tower to another now, and hopefully we can make our way through up the other side. Moving on to those scores. Ace awarded this game 90%. Amiga Mania awarded the re-release 90%. The One gave Switchblade 2 90%. Amiga Action gave this game 90%. Su Amiga gave this game 90%. Amiga Power Stuart Campbell awarded it 87%. Zero gave it 85%. Dato Magazine gave it 78%. Lemon Amiga currently gave this 74%. Amiga Formats Math Evans only gave this 70%. And Amiga Joker gave this, of course, the lowest score with 68%. So all of those scores are above average. That means the average score is 8.5 out of 10. On the Amiga we have 0 lives at the moment, and I wish this game awarded us some arrows to show us which way to go, just like other games that we've reviewed already on this channel. Unfortunately it doesn't, and even Fire and Ice, if we've reviewed that game already, gives some arrows, and again it gives us that linear landscape. But that's the end of my lives, that's the end of my talent and my appreciation of this game for the time being. I do think that this game has got a lot to offer, and I do love the high score music that it offers when you enter your high score. This game definitely deserves 7 out of 10 for effort. Definitely the graphics. The music is non-existent. People complained about the sound effects, and they said it was a rip-off of other games, pretty vacant, pretty boring. But I'm middle of the road for this. I think it has a lot on offer, and it's got some great memories for me. Thank you.